So let me ask you something. If I told you there was a category of EB-5 green card that the USCIS processes dramatically faster than the standard queue, we're talking about an approved I-526 in as little as 4 to 5 months, would you want to know about it? Of course you would. But here's what nobody in the industry tells you, that the speed comes with a very specific set of requirements. And if you do not approach this the right way, with good advisors, you can move lightning fast into a terrible outcome. My name is Josh Godden. Our team at InvestMigrate has been helping people navigate programs like this since 2008. We've assisted over 6,400 families obtain US and EU residency so far. What I'm about to walk you through is the explanation we give all of our clients when they ask us about this category of EB-5 green card. So first, what is an EB-5 visa set-aside category? In 2022, when the US Congress updated and reauthorized the EB-5 Regional Center program, it carved out a portion of the annual EB-5 visa quota specifically for EB-5 investment in rural locations or critical infrastructure to incentivize foreign investment into areas where it is genuinely needed. These applications go into a dedicated processing queue that moves considerably faster than other EB-5 green card applications. This is not marketing hype. I-526E applications based on rural projects consistently process in 5 to 11 months. You can Google it. Who is this most relevant for? Anyone who wants to obtain an EB-5 green card in less than 2 years. If your immigration situation is genuinely urgent due to a study visa nearing expiration, H-1B visa complications, or family circumstances that make your timeline critical, this could positively impact your family or your career in ways that will be tangible for years to come. If you were born in China or India and you plan to immigrate with your children, the rural category may be your only realistic option. Why? Applicants born in China and India are subject to retrogression. Outside the set-aside visa categories for rural and high unemployment urban projects, the annual EB-5 visa quota waitlist for your country of birth is many years long. These categories are not created equally though. Even if your country is not subject to a waitlist, rural projects enjoy the highest priority I-526E petition processing. They process faster than high unemployment urban projects by over a year in most cases. Let's talk about the timeline. For rural projects with prior USCIS project-level pre-approval, I-526E applications are sometimes approved in as little as 4 to 5 months, with 5 to 12 months being typical. Petitions based on high unemployment urban projects take at least 2 years to process. For best results, a few things should be true. The project should be an I-956F approved, that means not pending but approved, rural category EB-5 project with a credible business model and management team. The applicant's I-526E petition should be prepared by a reputable EB-5 focused immigration lawyer and have an immaculate source of funds explanation and personal background documentation. When those boxes are checked, the USCIS has shown it will move quickly. When they are not, approval can take longer. After the I-526E, your path to an actual green card depends on whether or not your application is subject to retrogression and how quickly the US Embassy or Consulate processing your case is moving. For example, Indian nationals who are legally resident in Dubai or Qatar on working visas would be processed by the US embassies in Dubai or Abu Dhabi normally. For applications based on rural set-aside category projects, they could receive green cards within 18 months. This is not a guarantee. Consular backlogs vary, NVC processing varies. However, EB-5 green card applicants who optimize all the conditions they can control, including choosing a visa set-aside category, reliably receive green cards much more quickly than those who don't. Before the rest of our rural project breakdown, I want to remind everyone of something. September 30th, 2026 is the most important deadline in US immigration right now. September 30th, 2026 is the date that determines whether your application is sure to be processed under current program terms, no matter what happens to the EB-5 program later. By law, any applicant whose I-526E petition is received by the USCIS on or before September 30th, 2026 is legally grandfathered. That's American legal jargon for retroactive protection by law. This means even if Congress fails to reauthorize the EB-5 program on time in 2027, for example, your application will process normally according to the policy currently governing EB-5, guaranteed by law. Applicants who file after September 30th, 2026 have no such protection. If the U.S. Congress fails to reauthorize the program on time, their applications could be frozen indefinitely until the government takes action. Grandfathering also locks in your minimum investment. The current minimum investment for rural and targeted unemployment area projects is $800,000. But by law, automatic inflation adjustments to the minimum investment starts on January 1st, 2027. Based on current projections, that minimum is expected to rise to between $900,000 and $937,000. Applicants who file before September 30th, 2026 don't have to worry about this. For applicants who want certainty on processing, on minimum required investment, and on their family's immigration timeline, September 30th is the only deadline that matters. One thing I want to get clear about, because the industry generally avoids addressing it, is diligence. Rural EB-5 is a genuine opportunity. I'm not here to scare you away from it, but rural projects require the same diligence you do on any large investment, and you have to be attentive to conditions that come with a rural business project. If someone presents you with a 5-star hotel project in a major US city, there's generally a lot of data and it's accessible. Comparable hotels, occupancy rates, RevPAR figures, similar transactions. There's no shortage of reference points. Now imagine someone presents you with a resort development in a rural area where nothing like this has been built before. Maybe the concept is strong, maybe the land is beautiful and the market is there, but you may be working with far less information. Fewer comps, less operating history, less data from similar businesses in the same market. So you have to put in more time and scrutiny into the management team, their track record, and the financial assumptions behind the project. People don't get into trouble with rural projects because rural businesses are inherently bad. They get in trouble because they didn't do a little extra work to evaluate the rural opportunity that they invested in. There are absolutely rural projects with strong, substantiated business cases, sensible balance sheets, and proven management. And they're sponsored by solid regional centers. Approached responsibly, the rural set-aside is a credible path to quickly obtaining a green card for your entire family. But a rural EB-5 project investment should be treated the way you'd treat any other $800,000 investment, with a lot of care. Here are some things to consider if you're looking at the rural set-aside category EB-5 green card. Checkpoint 1. I can't comment on any specific investment, but we can state the obvious. Treat an $800,000 investment like it's an $800,000 investment. If the business and investment terms of an EB-5 project would be too unclear or too risky for you to accept in a non-immigration context, why would they be acceptable in an immigration context? Subordinating business fundamentals to immigration considerations is backwards logic. EB-5 investments that didn't result in a loss of investors' capital have been historically more likely to result in successful permanent green card applications than ones that did. The same standards that apply to any significant capital commitment apply to EB-5. Checkpoint 2. I can't comment on any specific investment, but we can state the obvious about business management track records. Like all businesses, the best rural businesses are likely to be managed by teams who have successfully done that kind of business in rural areas already. If management who fit those criteria have also successfully run EB-5 funded businesses that resulted in successful EB-5 green card applications, this probably deserves consideration also. Finally, whether or not the regional center sponsoring the project has a track record of successfully sponsoring EB-5 projects and green card applications also deserves a lot of consideration. Look for verifiable history in the management of the business you're looking at, and also the regional center management. Ask for it. Good management teams will have clear accountings of their track records. Checkpoint 3. Rural status that holds up. Rural projects should have a clean, unambiguous geographic designation. A large residential development claiming rural status based on 1 or 2 parcels of land outside of a metropolitan statistical area isn't that. If you need to commission a legal opinion to verify a project's rural status, you probably shouldn't stake your application on that. Checkpoint 4, a business case you can explain. We can't comment on any specific investment, but I can tell you, if you can't explain clearly to a friend or family member how a business will make money, you probably don't understand it well enough to commit $800,000 to it. If your explanation of the business is so compelling that your friends and family all want to invest too, but the business hasn't substantiated it with data you can independently verify, you probably don't understand it well enough to commit $800,000 to it. You don't necessarily need to be an industry expert, but you should be able to follow and verify the logic. Here's the demand, here's the revenue model, here's the verifiable evidence supporting these assumptions. If you can't explain it over dinner without a lot of hand-waving, this should give you pause. Good rural projects are out there. They exist. Approached responsibly, they represent one of the most efficient paths to a U.S. green card available anywhere in the immigration system today. If you are watching this and thinking this might be relevant to your situation, the next step is simple. Click the link below and book a call with one of our consultants. We can't make investment decisions for you, but we can give you all the information you need to decide whether EB-5 makes sense for you, and if it does, which type of project actually fits your timeline, your background, and your goals. Rural Set-Aside is a tool. Used well, with the right guidance, it can get the right person to a green card faster than almost anything else in the immigration toolkit. But it has to be the right fit, evaluated the right way. That is what we do. The link is below.